Into hour 2 we go, and somebody should tell the Charlotte Hornets executive board, you're fired. And the person that should deliver that message is this man. He's been so patient since we were talking NBA. He joins us today. Jay Spivey, how are you, man?
Good, gentlemen. How you doing?
Doing good. Jay sent me an Instagram message about the worst organization in the NBA, and I'm just going to give Jay the floor about it right now.
Well, I mean, I can't say that I was terribly surprised, but
nope.
The Hornets are the worst organization in the NBA, according to this group that I found the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And not surprising, seeing as they don't seem to know how to win games and know how to develop a team or anything like that. So, and then I don't know how there could possibly be a fan base at this point.
I don't know either.
Is it just that there's like a bunch of crazies who are just like, maybe 1 year we'll actually get it right. 1 year we'll actually make it all the way.
What they should be kind of doing is kind of like what Oklahoma City's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Develop around the draft, but again,
they
keep getting in the. Now I know the lottery's coming up here soon. They have no chance to win the lottery. We all know that. It's not going to happen.
Speaking of which, Shane, you doing me a favor? Can you see how many draft picks OKC got?
How many draft picks?
Which is still ridiculous to know this team is that darn good and they got so many freaking draft picks.
Well, the Hornets have nothing. They have literally nothing.
Right.
And you know darn well they're going to draft like 4th,
middle
5th,
of the
or
round.
6th, and there's not going to be anybody really good available at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 3 in the first round and 1 in the second round. Their Playmaker.
3 first round picks. The number one team in the NBA has
has
3 first round picks.
Yep.
That's just this year.
One of their picks is through Miami. One of their picks is through the Clippers, and then one of them is via Philadelphia, protected 1 through 6.
Which should explain the plight of the Clippers, and in many cases should explain the plight of the 76ers.
If Sam Presti doesn't win the NBA title within the next 5 years,
and on the show, as I've discussed,
it's
not Charlotte is not a destination for free agents, and they don't seem to sign their own players anyway.
Because the last major free agent they had, they couldn't keep him due to injury. Gordon Hayward.
Now, when the first group of Charlotte Hornets came in the 80s, for the most part, until the very end, when it fell apart, the ownership was willing to spend money. This group here, no matter who their owner is, they don't know how to spend, they don't know how to develop, they don't know how to draft, they don't know how to anything.
Charlotte ain't been relevant since the Chris Paul, David West days.
Yep. And they were in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And they were in New Orleans.
Had they been able to draft Chris Paul or Steph Curry, who were both from North Carolina, that might have changed things.
Easily. Speaking of Carolina, your thoughts on the Panthers draft class?
They seemed like they did okay. I mean, it wasn't great, but I mean, it's better than it could have been, I guess. I mean, they seem to be going the right direction, I think.
I thought they did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I better than a lot of teams did. I mean, I wouldn't say it was spectacular, but I think they did pretty well, yeah.
Who stands out to you in this draft class the most, Jay?
You about overall or just for them?
For the Panthers.
Just for the Panthers.
You know, honestly, I know they got a couple linemen, but I really believe their best move might have been at who they picked up in free agency this past weekend. I think Hunter Renfrow might be a steal.
I agree with that.
I mean, he's not great, but he's going to help them a lot.
So what makes them Are they ready to compete? Let me just ask that. Are they ready to compete yet?
Maybe in that sorry division, but no, I don't. No, not overall. No.
In the NFC South, what are your thoughts on the overall draft class of the NFC South?
I think the Falcons probably had the best class. The Saints maybe. But I think probably the Falcons had the best class. But I mean, again, they have a mess that they developed from last year by signing Cousins and then drafting a quarterback.
What about
We
Tyra?
still laugh at that to this day.
That makes no sense to me.
None. You
What about-
sign Kirk Cousins, you guarantee his full contract. Listen again. You guarantee his full contract, and then you go and select Michael Penix in the draft.
And now they either not trade him or can't trade him. I don't know which is which.
Would
I
it
thought
ever
he'd get traded this weekend or last week. No.
would it ever be a day where we can just watch the draft and just let everything play out?
No.
Because when the Rams did their draft last year, everybody's like, they did all right. But guess what? Guess what defense was like the most talked about outside of Philly? Full of young draft picks.
That's not ever going to happen because the NFL draft is going to be nitpicked to the very end.
And that's the unfortunate thing is, when I do say it's unfortunate, it's because nowadays everybody is so analytical about whatever the hell's going to happen with their pick, let alone anyone else on the team. It's kind of ruined the thought of, hey, this guy's going here for this pick. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Spivey, what are your thoughts on Chacharoa McMillan? Being
that seemed to be a little bit of surprise to the guys. They all thought that. Who was the receiver? Everybody thought he was going. They were going to draft. It was
Hunter.
Who's the guy that everybody thought they were going to draft?
I know this. Tampa Bay got a steal.
Yeah, Emeka
Buka.
Who's the receiver there that got drafted after he was?
Well, Emeka was. Emeka
No,
was
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Panthers.
He
went like a couple picks after.
Matthew Golden. You talking about Matthew Golden?
That's it. Everybody thought the Panthers was going to draft him. That's it. Judging for what the so-called experts thought, they thought that was a bit of a reach for the Panthers. So that wouldn't surprise me. They seem to have no clue. I'm sure that was a David Tepper move too.
I want to talk about the draft itself, the overhype, the production, and all that stuff. And of course, they had it in a historic place in Lambeau Field, in Green Bay. But the days where they had it in New York and it was quiet, except the whole Warren Sapp thing, which I think started the uproar. But then again, it's the Jets. Why are we not surprised? But it's gone crazy.
That's going to continue. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of people at these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said 600,000 through the 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
that's
what?
600,000 people in
surprise me
3
one
days.
Not one bit.
Look, all I'm saying is
everything NFL related is huge. Everything.
the first round should not take the entire playoff slate of the NBA.
Yes, it should.
Actually, that was pretty.
I mean,
This past Friday's first round was quick by their standards.
The Thursday,
Yeah, very much so, because
The
they
Thursday night
lowered
went pretty quick by their standards.
the
the
Thursday
first round went quick because they lowered the time from 15 minutes per pick.
Well, not
to
only
10.
that, I mean, everybody seemed to have a clue for the most part.
Mhm.
Yeah, that too.
For once,
The
for
problem
once, because
as it continued to go on, there were more commercials and more things to trot out, more awards to trot out, which I'm like, couldn't y'all have done this like on the Hall of Fame game or the Pro Bowl? Like, y'all have to do this
No.
now?
no,
We all know it's a cash cow.
It is.
The
It
NFL prints money.
still they can do the first round in about 2.5, 3 hours, and then
No
be
way.
done with it.
That first round was way faster than it usually goes.
Because
Yeah, because it usually takes 5 hours and usually in the first round.
True.
Well, it went about 3.5. That's not bad.
I was going to say it usually takes 4 because we tried doing this 2 years ago.
And you was damn near asleep.
I was knocked out. I was knocked out on my feet to the point where my wife had to come in and drag me to bed. I was knocked out.
What do people have better to do if they're going to watch it? Why not watch the whole thing on Friday night or excuse me, Thursday night? So I mean, what else do you have to do?
It's going to take that long.
Are you picking these guys? I mean, are you going to have a pick like immediately? That's just crazy talk.
I'm just saying though, you have all this draft board, you make your draft board, you got all this going on.
Oh,
of course you
much
taking
harder
calls.
than you think it is. It is much harder than you think it is.
All I'm saying is it shouldn't take almost 5 hours.
Especially as you get to the middle and latter part of the first round, it's much harder than you think it is.
It is because the most hype picks are gone.
Well, this year was
not even this year. It was like that though.
There were no quarterbacks.
Exactly.
It wasn't like that this year. Like it seemed like most people were like picking around what they wanted, and then if it was still there, they go for it.
Let's have a laugh.
Point, Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Victor.
Don't get me started.
You crawled inside my head. Jay, what the heck were the Pittsburgh Steelers doing?
And they keep waiting. Listen, I think he's a great quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. But how long does it take to make a decision?
Sorry for cussing, but does Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting on Aaron Rodgers?
That's what I just said. What is he waiting on? It's been almost 4 months. What's he waiting on?
I was doing that to Snowman. You say Aaron Rodgers.
This Aaron Rodgers saga is worse than LeBron James's decision.
The Jets finished in early January. How long does it take?
How long does it take? As long as Aaron Rodgers wants it to take.
And
we're talking about
that's the
Aaron
damn
Rodgers
problem.
There. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers here.
That's the damn problem. Is Rodgers is the one dictating this bullshit?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He basically has their feet hanging over the fire. He knows that.
Here's the thing: Aaron Rodgers ain't dictating it. Pittsburgh is just sitting there.
Yep.
Like,
Pittsburgh
dude, he's telling you he doesn't have a time limit. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. Pittsburgh's like, nah, we'll wait.
The other thing is, after the draft concluded on Saturday, the first piece of news that came out, we may have a decision soon on Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't said a word about Aaron Rodgers for 72 hours.
Right.
Who could possibly care now?
Who gives 2/5 of a half of a damn?
Why didn't Cleveland sign him? They only have 5 quarterbacks. All right, go ahead and sign him too.
So you're telling me that day one decision could come between Aaron Rodgers and Mason Rudolph? Who could care about this season? I maintain it. I do not think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to make it to the playoffs this year.
I don't either.
I ain't saying that because Mike told me he found ways. I don't know how he does it.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious he's going to go to Pittsburgh. But how long?
You said that last year. You remember that?
I've said that the last 4 years.
And you're 0-4.
I'm on. I'll probably be 0-5. So the hell with it.
One of their biggest problems is Pickens.
Oh God,
Pickens has so much talent, and he just
crash out Pickens.
He's an idiot.
He is an idiot.
He's a head case. He's an idiot. He's a troublemaker. If they could harness some of that ability, oh my goodness,
crash out because he has the talent.
Crash out.
We've seen him have talent. I've seen him make catches that Victor I don't think should be humanly possible.
Victor just said one of the greatest nicknames I've ever heard.
I've seen
crash out Pickens.
I've seen Pickens make some of the most outrageous catches that should not be humanly possible, but he can. He can do it. But he always messes up because he want to crash out.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's apropos for Georgia players since they all get caught for speeding.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Oof, okay.
True.
Or more accurately, racing.
Racing.
Yeah, because they can't get down to the speedway, so they're stupid enough to do it in the hills. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this seems like it's a Georgia issue.
Well, it's not their fault they think they can be Awesome Bill from Dawsonville.
Well,
I can't comment on it because I got beaten by a Georgia Bulldog wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey. So I can't say nothing about Georgia right now.
It's either him or Justin Tucker or Deshaun Watson.
Oh God.
Deshaun Watson is done in Cleveland.
Let's go to Cleveland, before we go to the bottom of the hour.
The Cleveland soap opera.
Yes, it should be called the Cleveland Browns. They should be called the Cleveland. You know what?
I got to tell this story real quick.
I was thinking of this question on the way in today. What would be an appropriate television theme song for a team? And the instant I thought of that question and I began to voice it aloud, my wife comes out and says, Days of Our Lives. Because she knew I was talking about the Cleveland Browns.
That's not bad. That's not bad. The sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives.
Hey,
absolutely.
Are we putting the Cleveland Browns on Hard Knocks this year?
I got the one bit.
Let me answer Playmaker's question, and I say this with a 2-foot smile on my face. Who gives 2/5 of a half of a damn if the Cleveland Browns are on Hard Knocks?
Everybody will. You know why? Everybody want to know that
Shedeur.
quarterback room. Everybody want to get an inside look at that quarterback room.
He's right.
I do not.
You heard what Jay said. The NFL is about money.
I got
no bigger money if you don't put Cleveland Browns on the Hard Knocks this year.
Hold on. I got to tell this story real quick because this is going to remain the funniest thing I've ever seen in the draft. We were watching the draft. The Browns had the second pick. They traded down.
Yes.
To the 5th. This is how Jacksonville got Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the 5th pick. Was it Mason Graham? I think it was
Mason Graham out of Michigan.
Bay sat there. Now, mind you, my feed is ahead of everybody's that we were watching. Mine was ahead of Brian's and Bay's. Yeah. Bay sat there and said, "Don't lie to me. Don't get beat up."
He said, "Don't get beat up."
When I said, "No, I'm not lying,"
and then it popped through, and then it popped through on my feed, and I repeated it.
Right. Bay had to mute himself.
He did.
And he went on at least a good 2.5-minute cuss rant.
On mute?
On mute.
Yes. On mute. I will clip that. I'll have it tomorrow.
You can see him cussing.
I will have that tomorrow.
As far as the theme song for the Browns, it's got to be whatever the Bozo the Clown theme song was
for
the show.
No,
I gotta go back to Days of Our Lives.
Give me Benny Hill for that one.
Let me bring Jay. Let's bring Jay back in. Days of Our Lives is the perfect song, as I just knocked over my water for the Cleveland Browns, because they still can't get it right to present day.
Well, there again, it comes down to ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So the question now is, now that Shedeur is there, how do you?
But why do they need him? They don't need him.
They don't.
When and where is he going to play?
I made a crazy prediction.
Hold on. I can do this. Deshaun Watson is done.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's done. James Winston's gone.
Nobody on this panel and nobody in Cleveland, matter of fact, nobody in the United States of America believes in Kenny Pickett.
Whether Deshaun Watson's there done or not, they're still going to have to pay him every penny of that contract.
Yep, because they guarantee.
There's no out of that because they gave him a full deal. Stupidly.
I'm pretty sure they'll find a way to get out of it.
There's no way that you get out of it.
No, it's guaranteed, dude. It's full blown.
Yeah, I know it's guaranteed, but still, they're not going to play him. Plus, he's injured.
That doesn't matter. They got to pay him.
Doesn't matter. He's going to get every penny of that contract because of two simple.
But you still have
you're
to have
hamstrung by that contract already.
There are two words in Deshaun Watson. There are two words in Deshaun Watson's contract that handcuff the Cleveland Browns. Fully guaranteed.
Y'all not hearing me. I'm saying he's not stepping on the field as a Cleveland Brown ever again. It
does not matter. In essence, he's still playing because they can't pay anybody because of his contract.
They can still pay him, but he's not stepping on the field. That's my point.
That does not matter.
Field, which means it would have to be Shedeur. There'd be
nobody believes in Kenny Pickett.
No.
Everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to say there's no way that Dylan Gabriel is better than Shedeur Sanders.
The only other person, yeah, I could see Flacco starting.
Flacco's going to be the starter.
Flacco will probably do 4 games and then get injured.
Probably. And I'm dead over here.
I'm
if you
sorry,
see me
but
if you see me
I
looking
love
off a little
Flacco, but
bit,
he's getting too old.
But Snowman, you like throwing questions out here, right? Let me throw you a question out here to entice you. How many games would it take for the Browns fans to say they want Shedeur Sanders on the field?
2.
One.
Way more than one. Way more than one.
It'll take one. Shedeur Sanders is the popular pick. Shedeur Sanders is the pick that should have, according to many, gone earlier in the draft.
Earlier.
He was a third rounder at absolute best.
He was a third rounder at best. I said it for 2 years that he's a third rounder at best. Shouldn't have fallen to the 5th round, admittedly, but he was a third rounder at best.
So I asked this to you, Mr. Spivey. What do you think was the main cause? We know there were a bunch of causes. What do you think was the main cause for Shedeur's drop?
It had nothing to do with him other than the fact that apparently he gave a lot of bad interviews. Now that probably played an impact. But it sounds like he sounded like he was entitled, and I get that too.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest part is they don't want to deal with the Deion drama.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
Which took a lot of teams off the board too.
That's why I don't get what these people that don't know what they're talking about and say, "Oh, it's such a disgrace where he got picked and how he was treated and this and that." Well, that's what happens when your dad runs the show.
There's a particular 4-letter word that was also used about that, especially when New York picked Dart over Sanders.
It's a 6-letter word, actually.
Well, apparently, from what I heard, at least on, I guess it was Sunday, there were a lot of teams that didn't even have him on their draft boards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certain.
They did not.
From Boomer Esiason, it said that the owners told their GM to take him off the board.
But it was just, there's a lot of people who think it was collusion among the owners and GMs. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that at all.
I heard many people.
Honestly, I don't either.
I don't either.
I broke down. I spent half of an episode breaking down Shedeur Sanders' game fundamentally. From his game, I broke down his game on the field, and then you mix in the Deion factor.
Yeah,
and I said he was a third rounder at best, and a lot of supporters of Deion came after me, saying you can't say that about Shedeur. I just did.
Yeah,
I've heard people talk about this quote unquote collusion against Shedeur, and they named one of the person. They named this one of the person alongside. They said this gives off the same vibes as one Colin Kaepernick.
No, get the hell out of here!
This is totally different.
And that's what I said. Like, that's totally different. That's a completely different situation.
And they were saying it to us when we did the draft Thursday night.
Listen, if people thought Shedeur was good enough to play, they would have drafted him in the first round.
Right.
They would have listened.
But they don't want to deal with the Deion drama.
If they thought Shedeur was good enough to play, Cleveland would not have traded back into the 5th pick.
Right.
Period.
And to give you an example, ladies and gentlemen, who was the number 1 pick last year?
Good point. Caleb
Williams.
Caleb Williams
worth of fellas through the draft process.
You can't act entitled. You got to go through the whole process. You can't
say,
well, my dad's one of the greatest players
that's
ever.
The difference.
And that's
Caleb
something I absolutely
the entire process.
And I would absolutely fault Deion on that because that's your son. If anything, you need to instill that humility because the thing is, you are still interviewing for a job. Yes, your talent gives you confidence of like what people will deal with. But if you come in there with an attitude, if you come in there egotistical, like you all love it, trust me, they're not. Even if you do have a good amount of talent, they're gonna say we don't want to deal with this headache.
The only person to have any issue whatsoever with how he was handled was Jeff Ulbricht's son. That was completely and utterly disgraceful how that was handled.
Oh, with the prank call?
Yeah, you just can't do that.
No,
he prank call other players too. He prank call other players too.
Jeff Ulbricht's son should be fired.
He should have clowned. He should have clowned or disgraced. It's like,
listen, I know Jeff technically Ulbricht had nothing to do with this, but he needs to come out and speak.
Yeah, and say like, look, my son did something incredibly insensitive and wrong. because in the end, you are still you still messing with these players' lives. Remember, their lives and their prospective livelihoods comes from whether or not they're going to get drafted. So when you call someone saying, "Yeah, we want to draft you," it's like, "Yeah, we're thinking it's going to take a little bit long," and you're doing that just to make fun of them. What was the point of that? What was the reason?
There was no point whatsoever.
None.
How many kids have anybody's phone numbers other than him? You just happen to get somebody's phone out of his number in it.
I would have made him do a public apology.
My question is, how did he get those numbers in the first place?
The laptop.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
He got hold of a laptop.
He got a hold of his dad's laptop.
I would have made him stand up in front of a press conference and do a public apology.
Actually, you can do that, but that doesn't do anything.
You know what I would have done if I were Jeff Ulbricht's son's dad. If I were Jeff Ulbricht, you know what I would have done?
Mm-hmm.
I'd have stood him up in front of the podium.
That's what he should do, but he won't do that. He's not going to do that.
I know, but
make him answer questions.
Give me this button here. I would have stood my son up in front of the podium and told him 2 words. You're fired. Now get the hell out and stay. I told him, get the hell out and stay.
Fired from what, though? That's the thing. Fired from what?
Right, because I don't think he has a job in that. I don't think
fired from what? Where'd you go fire him from? He doesn't work for the Atlanta Falcons.
I still would have told him that.
The very least he could do is have him call Shedeur and apologize.
Yeah,
he won't do that.
Don't do this crap about being on Twitter or Instagram. Don't do that. That's not apologizing.
You call the person you pranked.
That's not apologizing.
And you make an apology.
Don't send an email. Don't send a text. That is not apologizing.
Voice to voice. Voice to voice is how that should be handled.
I was at face to face.
Yeah,
that would have been better. That's better. That's better. Thank you, Victor. That's better.
But I doubt that'll happen.
No, that won't happen. I would have done that face to face.
Every player, including Shedeur Sanders, for how they handled that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Lord of mercy, someone would have been throwing furniture if it really came down to it. But it's like again, this thing also kind of gets me with this whole pranking situation. Like, people can be absolute asshats, absolute bellends. But as long as you put "it's a prank," it's like it's supposed to excuse everything.
It's supposed to excuse you from that, and that's not the. And
it's not excuse you from consequences for your actions. If you actually you was going to get clowned, you should get clowned, whether or not it was a prank or not.
In 4 words, it's happened to me, and Victor, you know the situation.
Oh yeah,
it happened to me very recently, very recently.
Well, whatever happened to you and anybody else this has happened to, it's disgraceful and should never be done.
True.
Should never be done in the first place. We're up against the break. Jay Spivey joins us. He's joining us on a Tuesday because Monday got flipped upside down. Jay, thanks for being patient. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you next Monday. That's a promise.
All righty.
Thank you, Jay. Hey.
All right. So I'm gonna give Big Dog the first question because Big Dog usually ain't on when I talk wrestling. So
I actually got nothing to really ask because I've been watching everything go down and I'm just left scratching my head like,
okay,
what the hell?
So I gotta ask this question. So what exactly is going on with the Rhea and Io? Are they cool? Are they not cool? They just have like this thing with Julia and Roxanne. When they said Julia was about to get brought up.
So Julia and Roxanne are both supposed to be brought up.
No, they are. It's official.
But Julia was brought up before Mania.
No, Julia was brought up after Mania.
No, not Julia. I mean, Roxanne.
Roxanne was brought up.
Roxanne was back and forth, so she wasn't officially brought up. Now she's officially brought up. So they got their thing going on. Victor, you've seen this because you've been watching wrestling for a long time. You know, when you good friends with people, and Snowman knows this. That would make some of the best matches, some of the best rivalries.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what Io,
Yep.
Rhea, and Bianca have. They came into NXT together.
Right.
They've been on this path together now. With Bianca out with a broken finger, broken hand, back on SmackDown. It's a mutual respect thing between Rhea and Io. But you know how that works when there's a championship in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with someone as championship hungry as Rhea is.
But there's a mutual respect, and then all of a sudden your NXT call-ups decided to jump into the main scene right out the gate.
Okay.
So we need to show some respect around here.
Right. Is Pat McAfee gonna die at Backlash?
Oh, we know he's gonna get his head caved in.
He's gonna lose.
He's gonna get demolished at Backlash.
He's gonna lose. He's definitely gonna lose. But
it seems like Pat is trying to step into that Jerry Lawler role, not in terms of the perviness, but more like in terms of whenever someone tried to come at JR, the first person to step in line was King.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when Taz was trying to like make fun of JR and King, you know, cold cocked him because King don't do the open hand. He close fist you. He close fist punch you. And see that they're trying to do with Pat McAfee. Like he's gonna be like that dog. It's like, yeah, I could get in there with someone like a Gunther. I don't think that's possible, but
if you follow Pat McAfee, even
McAfee
even outside of wrestling, you know, Pat McAfee is one of those. Put it in simplest terms. He's from the hood. He's not gonna do things by the book.
That's true.
No,
nope. We're not finna sit here. We ain't calling no lawyers. Right. We ain't doing no scoops. No, we ain't doing none of that. We gonna handle business how business is handled in the hood. Mano y mano.
Mano y mano.
Right.
So that's what Pat McAfee's doing. So if you ever follow Pat McAfee, it's pretty much Pat McAfee being Pat McAfee.
Right, that's fair.
Oh, we knew that was coming, especially with that promo.
And in case you don't know, don't remember, Pat McAfee played at the University of West Virginia, and I've been through West Virginia, and half of that state is hood. No, change that. 3/4 of that state is hood.
And let's not forget when he was working with Joe Colts, he ain't afraid to lay the wood to somebody.
So when's the wake for Sami Zayn?
So after the wake for LeBron James and the Lakers.
Oh boy. I knew he was going to be a sacrificial limb, especially after apparently Jay got cold cocked backstage by Logan Paul. So he's going to be out. Apparently Jimmy wasn't there.
Sammy, you can't fight every battle.
Yeah, Sammy's like that crash test dummy. He's like,
you can't fight every battle. They literally said you can take the deal, go to SmackDown, and get a WWE Championship match out the gate.
Mm-hmm. But no,
Seth had that kind of power.
He got Paul Heyman with him. You got to remember that.
Sami Zayn decided to go the other way and take a big fat.
He took a big fat M for murder. In fact, Detective Vic A. Law's on the case about who was behind the murder of Sami Zayn.
Look, to the Detective Vic A. Law, you're falling behind on your cases.
I have to make cases to follow.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you right now.
At least Becky Lynch saw one for you already. At least Becky Lynch already saw one of your cases for you. She just went and came out and said it.
She said, I did it.
She just came out and said it. She didn't even wait.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? So I get the whole thing with Bayley because they're going back between Damage Control and Becky Lynch and all that. I get that. But Lyra was your girl. All she did was lose a match, and you beat the dog mess out of her.
No, if you paid attention, it was the fact that she was going to be tagging with Bayley to begin with.
Right, but the thing was, we didn't even know Becky was even going to come back until like game time decision because she was supposed to be, taking care of her injuries and being a mom and everything. Most people were even saying that Becky was retiring.
Becky was not retiring. If you paid attention to Seth Rollins,
Well, no, if you pay attention to that's wrong. I'm talking about like in terms of dirt sheets. People were saying that.
See, don't listen to the dirt sheets. See, that's the thing. You can't listen to the dirt sheets.
Nope, you can't.
I was listening to stuff wrong. I was talking about stuff wrong when he made appearances on NFL Network and all these other stations. He said Becky was not retiring.
I gotta call out Seth on this. Seth, why was you trolling people of Lambeau Field?
Because it's a hilarious
bear. He's a Chicago Bear fan. What you supposed to do?
You troll. Yeah, but there's a difference between trolling and lying. He said the best quarterback in Izzy North.
Bro.
He said the best quarterback in the Izzy North was Caleb Williams.
If Snowman goes into LA,
oh God,
he's supposed to troll the LA Rams fans. That's how it's supposed to go.
Also, if
you go to Philly or New York, you're supposed to troll them.
I'm keeping my mouth shut because I can't fight that many people, especially not Philly fans. Philly fans are too rabid. They're on a different planet.
Notice
trolled in my life.
Ain't nobody calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, are you still?
Get that shit out of here.
I had enough of that on TFT.
No,
and you playing.
Notice the fact that Playmaker left me out of this.
You under arrest, dog, for that one. That's a war crime.
Well, saying everybody hates y'all, so I mean
that's true. Everyone does hate me. I don't know why. What
now, I would say that
I mean, everybody hates the Patriots. I mean, what more do you want?
Listen,
everybody hates the Patriots.
I control Shane. I control the big dog by saying 2 words. Actually, quite a few words, but lately I can say 2 words that will troll Shane and will get him yelling at me.
Okay.
Carter Verhage.
Oh.
Why'd you go there?
Because it's fun. I'll give you 2 more. Brian Bickle.
So here, okay. So now Logan Paul wants to challenge Jey Uso for the title.
Yep.
You mean he's? I can't do it. I can't do it.
Does match really need to happen? Does it really?
Uppercut.
Because at some point, Logan Paul's got to go for the title. He's not going to win it because it'll be Jey Uso's first defense, and you usually don't lose on your first defense.
Right.
You're a champion. But they've been at some point. Look, sorry, Snowman. I'm very sorry, but I have to be honest. You know, I like to keep it a buck. At some point between the end of this year or next year, Logan Paul will be a world champion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Even I conceded to that.
Without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
He will be a world champion.
I will say this though.
We're gonna hate it, but he's gonna be a world
champion. I conceded to that.
Here's my thing with Logan. I can say this. At least Logan really takes this seriously. Like when you see how he does a lot of his workouts and everything, his training, you can tell he takes this seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not like a Kevin Federline situation. Like he really likes doing it.
That was one of the worst things WWE came up with was K-Fed coming in.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
No, Paul Allen, we're not.
Oh, and apparently John Cena, Randy Orton, number 29 is coming up at Backlash.
Yes. I told Snowman that was the main event. Thank you, John Cena, for making it official. There wasn't no GM. John Cena made it official.
Yep.
Yeah. Are we looking at a possible split within Judgment Day, or is it going to be maybe even a possible face turn for Dom? Because I would never have thought Dom would have gotten a chant, but he began chants.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more. I think a face turn's coming more for Finn Balor than anyone else in that crew.
Here's the thing: people been getting on Dom for doing one thing and one thing only. And this was like 5-6 years ago.
Turn on his dad.
He turned on his dad, and he been getting booed out the building ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then when WrestleMania came about, it's like, you know what? We've been giving him all this for years. He's been taking it. Good for Dirty Dom. Good job, Dirty Dom. You a champion now. We can accept this.
Yeah, you've been taking this beating like a government mule for 6 years. Now you got a championship. We can live with this.
Yeah.
The fact that getting the title is one thing, but the fact that people start chanting his name, I was like, am I caught in the genjutsu or something? Like, when do y'all start?
When you go through the fire, people seize. When you go through the fire and you come out on the other side.
Yeah.
I will give him that. I'm like, yeah, he has been doing it. If he does decide to turn face, if you were to be the booker to turn down face, how would you do it?
I'm not turning down face. I'm turning Finn Balor face.
Okay.
That you see where I was going with all of that?
Oh, yeah.
Dom right now is too hot to be heel. And the same going with Liv and Raquel and the rest of the judgment.
Because if you
Day.
paid attention,
flip.
If you paid attention, even though he's getting cheered, he's still being a heel.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
You got to realize Finn's going to be the one getting flipped.
That'd be interesting to see Finn flip again.
Oh, I guarantee it'll happen by the end of the year.
Does he go demon?
Happen.
Does he go Demon King?
Yes.
I think it'll happen. What's the event I'm drawing a blank. Survivor Series?
What? So November?
It'll be SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
It'll be Slam. It'll be Slam.
SummerSlam is the next big event.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be at Money in the Bank because that is in LA.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, we know for a fact they're not going to flip Liv or Raquel. They're too tied as current tag champs, and Liv's going to be off air for a while filming a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't Alexa Bliss at Mania? Was she injured?
They're still trying to do something with Wyatt Six and her.
No, Uncle Howdy is injured.
Dallas. Dallas is injured. Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's what I'm like. I mean, again, like how come Alexa was not? Because we only see Alexa like maybe once or twice since she came back.
From what I'm hearing, they're trying to do something with her and the Wyatt Six. There's going to be some big ass brouhaha coming.
Brouhaha.
That'd be.
But leave it. Hey, Triple H, I hope you saw your main event on SmackDown. That's supposed to be on WrestleMania.
Yeah, that would have been good for Mania.
That would have been. And now Jade and Tiff are back at it.
Actually, no, they're not. Naomi decided to butt in.
Oh, I mean that one match, they were kind of back at it, and
then Nia Jax returned.
And then Nia Jax returned.
Nia just comes in and blows Tiffany's shit straight out.
I'm just gonna sit on you again, just because I want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit on you while you're wearing that belt.
Just because I want to.
Just because I want to. You can tell Nia no.
No,
she gonna do it anyway.
I have not been a troll in my life.
This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation.
See, lying already. Lying out.
Whatever do you mean, sir? It's not like I said this about the Cowboys.
You're screwed. Yeah, you're totally screwed.
You say that every year.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I do not.
Just like you say, bronsexuals are the greatest fan base in the world, right?
You. And you, in case you didn't hear me.
I mean, it's not like we're trolling the bronsexuals and saying that they can actually survive one of these.
Game 7.
We're gonna ring the bell on that one. Victor with the dub. He threw that right back at you. we call the match. This is
the match has been called. The match has been called.
I gotta ask this one more question.
Okay.
Do you think they're going to do something with Travis Scott in the ring? Because now it's the second time they did one of Big Four pay-per-views and he's involved.
What?
That
I'm
hardcore.
I'm gonna put it like this.
Okay.
If you want to know they're gonna do something with Travis Scott, The only way you would know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like for sure. You'd be like, okay, yeah, we can stamp this.
Mm-hmm.
If Bad Bunny returns.
Oh, that means he had to get into some sort of program with Priest then.
No, it'd be with Cody.
Oh, with Cody? Yeah, that could work with Cody.
Yeah.
If Bad Bunny returns, that means Travis Scott, you're on deck.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be crazy if that happens.
While Shane stepped away, we called the match. Stop the match.
By God, somebody stop the damn match. That man had a family.
Thank you, Playmaker. We love having you as always, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Now, forgive me not knowing the brother. You got your mic, but I don't know who the hell you are. It's like you're in the broadcasting witness protection program.
Coming up tomorrow.
This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation.
And
passionate.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Unflinching.
Let's go back to losing. Parking was easier.
Unrelenting.
They're not gonna keep him off the field tonight!
Totally.
This one has a chance!
Deeds.
That's not just a murmur, that's a full-blown fibrillation.
Wait a minute. Us trolling people? Whatever do they mean?
This moment of bronze sexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked on Bronix. When you start talking like an idiotic bronze sexual, Hooked on Bronix can set you right. Call 1-800-YOKAY. Real LJPM. Now approve all this.
have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. God bless you. So long, everybody. I was going to close it a certain way, but I just couldn't do it.
Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Dylan Bricks. Y'all some bitches.
You're fired.
Bye. See you tomorrow, y'all.